The year's end is here. Holiday lights, chilly air, and the promise of winter's drama. For some, it's magical. For others, it's a challenge. Winter isn't just cold. It's a spectacle, with beautiful snowfalls and disruptive storms. This year, the atmosphere is primed for a real showdown. Arctic cold versus Atlantic warmth. The outcome shapes everything from your heating bill to your holiday plans. It's not just a tug of war, but a complex dance of shifting patterns. One week, you're bundled up. The next, you're questioning if you put away your lighter jacket too soon. We'll break down the science behind this season's volatility: polar vortex, sudden cold snaps, and oceanic forces. Strange signs are already emerging, hinting at a winter full of surprises. Get ready. The story is about to unfold right outside your window. Let's set the record straight. When you hear the term polar vortex, you might picture a massive swirling blizzard or a single monstrous storm barreling south. But that's not what it is at all. The polar vortex is actually a vast, swirling mass of extremely cold air that sits high above the Earth's poles, circling the Arctic like an invisible crown. It's a permanent feature of our atmosphere, always present, but in winter, it becomes much stronger, acting like a barrier that keeps the coldest Arctic air locked in place. That is, until something shakes it up. Think of it like a spinning top. When it's spinning fast, it's stable and balanced. But if it gets nudged or loses speed, it starts to wobble and can even break apart. Powerful waves of energy from the lower atmosphere can jostle the vortex, causing it to stretch, distort, or even split into separate pieces. When that happens, it's like someone has flung open the Arctic's freezer door, letting all that icy air spill out. A strong, well-formed vortex keeps the most brutal cold bottled up far to the north, away from most of us. But when the vortex weakens or wobbles, it can no longer hold back the frigid air, which then escapes southward, unleashing those infamous bone-chilling cold snaps across North America, Europe, and Asia. So, when you hear about a polar vortex event, it's not the vortex itself swooping down. It's the aftermath of its breakdown that brings the extreme cold. The real drama unfolds as lobes of deep freeze air break free and roam far from the pole, plunging cities into record-breaking cold. That's what makes the headlines and sends people scrambling for extra layers and emergency supplies. The polar vortex is truly the first major player in our winter weather drama, setting the stage for everything that follows. Understanding how it behaves and what can disrupt it is absolutely key to predicting what kind of winter we'll face. And this year, meteorologists are already seeing signs that the vortex is unstable, hinting that we could be in for some wild weather ahead. When the polar vortex breaks apart, a mass of frigid Arctic air surges southward, spilling out of its usual home near the North Pole and invading regions far to the south. This icy air is guided by the jet stream, a fast-moving river of air high above the surface that acts like a conveyor belt for weather systems. Normally, the jet stream forms a relatively straight boundary between cold and warm air, but during these events, it becomes wavy and distorted, creating superhighways that funnel Arctic air deep into North America. That's how a classic East Coast cold snap is born. Frigid air races in, dropping temperatures by 20, 30, even 40 degrees in a single day, catching many people off guard and transforming the landscape overnight. The cold is dense, dry, and biting, so intense that car batteries fail, pipes freeze and burst, and even simple tasks outdoors become a challenge. These dramatic cold events often follow a phenomenon called sudden stratospheric warming, where a rapid temperature spike high in the stratosphere disrupts the polar vortex, sending cold air cascading south. The warming happens far above our heads, but the consequences are felt right here on the ground as icy winds and snow sweep through cities and towns. These cold snaps drive up energy demand, snarl travel with flight delays and road closures, and pose real dangers to health and safety, especially for the vulnerable. For meteorologists, Predicting exactly where and when the cold will strike is a major challenge, requiring constant analysis of shifting weather patterns and new data. We can spot the warning signs weeks in advance, but the precise details, like which cities will be hit hardest, often remain elusive until the last moment. That's the thrill and the frustration of winter forecasting. Always chasing the next big chill, never quite certain what the Arctic will send our way next. The Atlantic has its own winter influencer, the North Atlantic Oscillation, or NAO. It's all about the pressure difference between the Icelandic low and the Azores high. A positive NAO means a strong jet stream, blocking Arctic air from the eastern U.S. and bringing milder, wetter winters. But a negative NAO weakens the jet stream, allowing cold air to plunge south and linger. The Greenland block can trap cold for weeks, fueling big East Coast snowstorms. When a negative NAO teams up with a disrupted polar vortex, you get prolonged, severe cold. The NAO's phase is a critical piece of the winter puzzle. It can flip the script from mild to brutal in days. This year, the NAO's indecision is adding to the uncertainty. Its next move could decide the season's fate. As of late November, the atmosphere is already acting up. The polar vortex is showing early signs of weakness, wobbling before winter's even begun. Extensive Siberian and Canadian snow cover is cooling the land, priming the vortex for more disruptions. Meanwhile, the Atlantic sea surface is warmer than usual, fueling storms, but the NAO is stuck in neutral. This indecision is creating a tense, unpredictable setup. The result? No clear signal for a mild or brutal winter, just high variability. Expect wild swings, intense cold shots, then surprising warmth. The battle lines are drawn, but the outcome is anyone's guess. This winter will keep us guessing week to week. To predict this winter, let's look back and see what history can teach us about the patterns that shape our coldest months. The 2013-14 winter saw repeated polar vortex disruptions and a persistently negative NAO, resulting in brutal, record cold that gripped much of the country for weeks, straining infrastructure and daily life. In contrast, 2015-16's strong El Niño led to a positive NAO and a mild, almost spring-like winter. People traded snow boots for sneakers, and many cities saw record warmth instead of blizzards. 2017-18 was a roller coaster, starting with a mild December, then a sudden stratospheric warming. A negative NAO brought a bitter cold snap and a bomb cyclone before flipping back to mild. The rapid changes kept everyone guessing. These examples show there's no single script. Outcomes depend on which atmospheric player dominates, and for how long. The balance can shift quickly, making each winter unique. This year's signals echo past volatility, but every winter writes its own story, shaped by a complex mix of global and local forces. The lesson? Expect the unexpected. Even seasoned forecasters can be caught off guard by sudden shifts. The interplay of Arctic and Atlantic forces can flip the pattern overnight, turning mild days into deep freeze in a matter of hours. By studying history, we see the range of possibilities and learn to prepare for whatever comes our way. This year, the echoes are there, but the ending is unwritten. Stay tuned and watch as this winter's story unfolds. As late November turns to December, the weakened polar vortex could deliver early cold snaps to the east. These won't be the season's worst, but they'll remind us winter's here. Brief plunges, then quick rebounds. The NAO's indecision means a push and pull. Cold shots followed by mild spells. Weather whiplash will be the norm. One weekend you're bundled up, the next you're in a light jacket. The storm track will shift with each pattern change, bringing snow during cold spells and rain when it's mild. The rain-snow line will be a constant battleground. The key word, changeable. Don't get comfortable with any one pattern. Make sure your winter gear is ready. You'll need it on short notice. The next round of cold could be just around the corner. Looking to January and February, expect a season of extremes, not consistency. The polar vortex's weakness hints at one or two major Arctic outbreaks, headline-making cold that could last a week or more. The most likely window mid to late January, when the cold could be record-challenging. If the NAO turns negative, expect a long, brutal stretch, but significant thaws will follow, with temperatures swinging well above average. This boom and bust cycle is classic for a winter without a dominant climate driver. The overall forecast, slightly colder than average for the east and central U.S., but made up of wild peaks and valleys. Snow lovers, take heart. Volatility means more chances for big storms. The key is being in the right place when cold and moisture collide. This winter will be a roller coaster, so buckle up. With a volatile winter ahead, preparation is everything. Don't just check today's temperature, watch the forecast for sudden changes. Early warning gives you time to prep your home, car, and family. Build a winter kit, blankets, flashlights, food, water, and car essentials like an ice scraper and jumper cables. Service your heating system, seal up drafts, and insulate pipes to avoid costly surprises. A little prevention now saves big headaches later. Embrace the season. There'll be chances for sledding, skiing, and cozy nights in. By staying informed and ready, you can enjoy winter's beauty and weather its challenges. Stay safe, stay prepared, and enjoy the show. Whatever this winter brings, we'll get through it together.